All right, y'all. It's only been a month. No, been longer than a month.
It's been a good while. But welcome back to Let's Talk Fish.
Yeah. This is episode that's 100 and something, but this year it might be only episode 5.
Possibly. We got a lot of catching up to do this summer and fall.
Yeah, we one thing Brian and I were talking about, what are we going to talk about this episode? Well, there's a million things to talk about. We obviously can't do tournament recaps for all the tournaments we've been in lately because
we've missed about 6.
Between the two of us, there's probably 6 or 7. Yeah. 6 or 7 tournaments.
Yeah.
And a lot of them weren't really great for either one of us, for that matter.
No,
so
I've had one good tournament all year.
I really hadn't. I made a couple Saturday cuts, but that,
I mean, that's a good tournament.
Well, yeah, but when you finish 75th, 67th, 80th, and the other ones, not so much.
I mean, that's the same place I've been.
Yeah, well, we, I always said the best way to get out of a slump is to fish your way out of it.
That's exactly
right. Only thing we can do. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. But y'all, welcome back. Another episode of Let's Talk Fish Live. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We already got about looks like close to 40 viewers, and we do have a giveaway at the trivia giveaway at the end of the show, as usual. It is sponsored by the presenting sponsor of Let's Talk Fish, which is Angler's Choice Marine. Y'all, most of the normal viewers are very familiar with Angler's Choice, but if you're not, they have 3 locations. Okay, year in and year out, they're either number 1, number 2 Triton and Ranger sales in the U.S. Awesome customer service, huge service departments, take care of you before and after the sale. Have a huge inventory. The Martinsville, Virginia, which is like the mothership, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's the flagship store.
Yeah, I don't know how many square foot is their showroom. It's like 80,000.
It's very, very big.
Yeah, it might be 100,000.
Yeah, you can get lost in it.
There's a lot of boats. But anyway, if you're in the market for a new boat, 3 locations: Spindale, North Carolina; Lexington, North Carolina; and Martinsville, Virginia. Full stock Ranger, Nitro, all the White River Marine brands, Sun Tracker pontoons, and let's see what else. It's all White River Marine.
All White River Marine products, and also don't forget the amazing tackle store, acmtackle.com.
Got some cool stuff.
They carry a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff you don't see in other tackle stores, so make sure you go check them out. They take pride in being up to date on the hottest tips and trends and techniques to help you catch more bass and put you in the finest boat on the water to do it with, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Rusty, to answer that question, he said he heard Triton is going away. I think there's a misconception there. I can't prove that, but I'd actually talked to Trent, my buddy at Angler's Choice, who's up at the Martinsville location the other day, and they said they're selling the Fire out of the I don't know the exact new Triton model.
I heard I think it's the TR21.
TR21 maybe.
They were selling them,
but they're selling them like hotcakes. They're very reasonably priced, and they're selling a ton of them. I know that you saw some pros transition from Triton to Ranger. I mean, that's just due to a budget switch, marketing budget change. Doesn't mean the brand's going away necessarily. Right. So I don't think that that's true as of right now, but if I find out any more information, I'll let you know for sure. All right. So a lot of things been going on. A lot of things. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, let's see, I'm trying to think.
Where are we going with this, man?
Well, I'm trying to think how long it's been since we've been in here. It was in April. We were in.
It's been a long time.
Gosh, man, I may even killed a turkey since we've been in here last.
Have we done a show since the Classic? Did you do one after the Classic?
Yes, we did. We did it because the title of the last show, if I'm not mistaken, was Classic Takeaways. Was it not, Tyler?
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Tyler's got his mouth full of Sour Patch Kids.
I think it was right before
I got my
opening.
mouth full of Zots.
So opening day or opening weekend, wasn't it?
Of turkey season? It may have been. Do you remember us talking about turkey season or something? Okay. Well, we do have a couple turkeys in the freezer at this point, so
I hadn't been invited over for what is it you make, turkey nuggets?
I still got the meat. You'll be invited when we make the nuggets, so we're all good. Rusty, I don't want to correct you, but I think it was post Classic. I think it was after the Classic because the Classic was in March. And I think our last
Triton
show was
XP.
Classic Takeaways.
That's what Jody writes.
Yeah, that's it, Jody. It is the Triton
XP.
XP. That's the one that's selling like hotcakes. Yep, for sure.
We were wrong. I was wrong.
But if you're in the market for a Triton Ranger, Sun Tracker pontoon, Tracker aluminum, they've got them all.
Yep.
And
even Tracker off-road vehicles.
Yeah, and they're priced to sell. And I'm not sure they're doing the Tracker off-road anymore.
Oh, they're not doing it.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I know the Spindale location's not, but I'm not 100% sure about the Martinsville location.
Gotcha.
But regardless, if you're in the market for a tracker off-road and English Choice is not doing, I know obviously you can swing into your local Bass Pro, pick one up.
That is true.
But all right, let's keep moving. Canterbury, old Hammerberry.
He got him one.
Done went old school at the NPFL at Douglas Lake.
That was fun to watch too. Like I watched a good bit of the live there. I didn't realize the water was so high, and like he was catching.
It kept coming up.
Yeah, they were flipping trash mats and bushes, and
he caught a couple key fish, swimming the old white jig around.
Yeah, I seen a lot of guys
on the old
doing
marina
that.
docks. That's a big deal. And I think my old buddy Brad Staley, and I watched a little bit of live coverage on the final day, but I swear he was catching most of his fish, and I don't know throughout the first 2 days. I didn't see it. Under the dock that they were blasting off from.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So we had a BPT at Douglas in 23, right after, it was like the week after I won Red Crest at Norman. Same thing. Britt Myers caught them off that dock at the launch on a swim bait in February.
Perfect.
So.
Well, everybody knows the best hole on Douglas Lake now. So.
Exactly. Yeah, like I don't think he caught much. And this was when we were 5 fish limit, and he caught like 17 pounds off of it the second day or something like that.
All right, so congrats to Hammerberry. I thought about pestering my roomie to get him on tonight, and we could call him and get him on here. But let me tell you,
I think he's in Mexico.
He's in Mexico
Yeah.
for the Pan Am Games. And, they had some issues. Like, I talked to McCoy. McCoy's down there filming with Scott and them.
Yeah.
And they had some issues getting over there because some tariff stuff. It took them like 4.5 hours at the airport to get through all that crap.
Oh, really?
I don't know details.
Trying
but
to take fish and tackle over.
Yeah, they were
what
limited to
lake are
like
they
4
fishing?
rods. I don't know.
Oh, they could only take like 4 rods?
Well, they were charged for like extra stuff.
Yeah,
and,
gotcha.
and charged like insane prices for extra stuff. So
Really?
I don't know how all this played out. I just know they did make it, and they are fishing.
Yeah. So
and
they should have shipped it, UPS or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to them in detail, but the end of that tournament. But anyway, congrats to my boy Hammerberry.
If it cost them too much, they probably could have just chartered a private plane.
Surely it wasn't that expensive. It could have been. I mean, who knows?
I mean, if you got 3 or 4 people, you probably get a private plane for $2,000 a piece.
With the tariff war going on, it may have cost
Probably
every bit of
worked
that.
out a
Yeah,
little.
it may have. So, but yeah, to Smoke's point over here, that was one of the most entertaining tournaments. I mean, when you get to see, and I text my boy Luke Duncan while he was commentating. I said, dude, I don't care what y'all say, you ain't never seen a hook set like that in your life. When Canterbury swings one, I don't know how he didn't kill everyone that he sets a hook on, but I guess the bushes and the docks or whatever he was.
Oh yeah,
that little bit of resistance was preventing the fish from flying 110 feet in the air. Because every time I see him set the hook,
well, he was catching big ones too.
Oh yeah, 100%. But to do what he did,
like the ones I catch would have definitely flew out.
Oh yeah, you should have been at the Sabine River. Yeah, you set the hook, go ahead and put your catcher's mitt out.
I watched a bunch of videos. Like guys after the tournament, they'd show them setting the hook and one flying out and bouncing across the deck and going out the other side.
And some of them were keepers. That's the bad thing. Like
a lot of them were.
There's a pretty good one now. But anyway, so crazy tournament because I was looking at. Welcher, I watched a little bit of him on the final day. Obviously, I tried to tune as much as I could on day 3. My roommates, got a shot to win. 3-way tie.
I know, that was pretty
going
neat.
into day 3, which was cool. And
Welcher's not used to that.
No, yeah, apparently not.
He's used to having to lead by himself.
That's right.
By quite a margin.
That's right. But to see Welcher, Welcher did everything he could plus some. Like, he caught almost 17 pounds, which was like the 3rd or 4th largest bag of the tournament. And then Canterbury just threw down the gauntlet.
Got 19.
Almost 20 pounds, yeah, dude. That was...
Which is huge for Douglas right now from what I've heard.
100%. And I talked, my buddy Todd Goad, everybody knows Todd, owner of Pulse Fish, and, Todd's a local there, and he told me prior to the tournament, he said, I feel like, 16 a day will win this tournament. And he was pretty dead on.
Oh, yeah.
And Canterbury was, right at 50 pounds, which was a little above average, but he told me after the tournament, he said, dude, Canterbury, that's for this time of year on Douglas with the conditions.
And to do it 3 days in a row.
Yeah, that's smoking them. That's smoking them.
I'm surprised nobody caught them deep out there, like offshore. Like I always thought Douglas was a.
Well, they didn't have FFS, and now all them schools are.
Yeah, but still, you would have thought somebody would have found a deep school they'd catch crank in or something like that.
Some of the guys work fishing deep.
Yeah.
they weren't able to keep up with the pace though for the quality.
Right.
All
I guess with the water coming up too, probably
the conditions were not very suitable for fishing out deep. But I still say, forward facing sonar, the deep schools on Douglas, just like Wiley or anywhere else, like you because they're so pestered, because they're caught so much, because they get broken up so fast, you need FFS to be really efficient out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And now, guys did catch deep fish in that tournament. I don't know how many checks were cast deep, but I can tell you this much: everybody that I saw was fishing shallow.
Yeah, fishing.
Everybody that did good that I saw.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Keith said he said the Sabine was almost unwatchable. See, I have to agree to disagree, because the Sabine, I've always said, and Tyler's over here shaking his head yes too. You actually agree with me?
Yeah, that was a very exciting tournament to watch.
just from a fisherman's standpoint, I know what goes into a grinder, so to speak, and it's always really intriguing.
It was a welcome break from the norm now.
See,
I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, you had the final day. Anybody in the top 10 had a chance to win it.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
Anybody.
100%.
And it wasn't going to be won by somebody just trolling around in the middle of the river, scoping dots.
The Sabine is an extremely challenging fishery. I could write a book on how many. The reasons why it's challenging, but
all rivers are kind of like that, though.
Yeah,
it may be more than most.
More because every bayou that you went in, especially given our current conditions this year, was crazy, because the water levels were different in all of them because they're fed by different rivers.
Right.
And the rain and the flooding that was coming from different areas, dude, where I was fishing, it was low.
Really?
The Sabine was high as crap. So it was. Now there's reasons for that though. So you have these saltwater barriers, right?
Yeah.
You're familiar with saltwater barriers?
Not really.
All right, so they're kind of like locks to keep the salt water out.
So you have to lock.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yes, basically, but it's not what you're thinking lock. Like, it's much quicker, it's lower, it's more efficient.
Yeah.
Anyway, basically they just open a gate and everybody drives through. You don't go in between two. So does that make sense?
Yeah, like they just open one gate and just let a little bit of water in.
Correct. It's like this much, you can see it.
Yeah.
So, but I'll give you a tip. If you ever go through one of those things, and I learned this through Canterbury, as soon as them doors got wide enough for him to slide his boat through there, he attempted to go through there and it about slung him into the side of one of them gates. So wait till the sucker's all the way open, because even though there's only that much water pouring out of it, that's a lot of power.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of current, and water is very powerful. I can promise you that. But anyway, yeah, so
they probably got signs there, too, that says wait till doors are
No,
open.
they really don't.
Oh, really?
Dude, this is Louisiana and Texas. They don't have no signs like that. It's a free-for-all down there. It's like, whatever.
It's a free-for-all.
Finish your beer, come on through,
Yeah.
Like, no, it's a very, very interesting fishery. I mean, we call it, like, Canterbury went over to Houston and practiced one day, which is 2 hour
insane run.
Insane run, yeah. And with the wind that we had, we had a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind out of the southwest every day. I'm not saying it would have been impossible. It would have been.
Well, it's Texas. The wind blows 20 every day in Texas.
Yeah, but so our run to like Taylor's Bayou, where I was going.
Yeah.
You'd be proud of me, dude. I made an hour run one way.
Really?
I don't do that ever.
You were in Taylor's with everybody else?
With like 60 boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
But the reason the water was low in Taylor's is because they had the salt. The week we were there for the Elites, never fails, they just happened to have the barrier closed, so they could do some work on it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which allowed the water not to come in and out, so it would drop in Taylor's. And then as soon as you went through the barrier, it was high, pretty color, looked great. But then you went to flipping out there, and all you caught was like flounder and redfish.
Yeah.
So because the salt. The salt water, I guess the salinity was too high. But they've had every bayou's affected differently through storms too. So you don't know the population and the quality and kind of where each bayou stands until you go in there and actually experience it yourself.
Right.
I mean, you can't research that stuff online. Like, you can see hurricanes hit so-and-so time and all this stuff, but you don't know about the saltwater intrusion and how far it went and, like, the flooding and which rivers got it the worst.
So nobody caught them really in the Sabine this time?
I don't know if anybody did really good around the ramp this time, to be honest with you.
Because last time there were several guys.
Yes.
That's where Brock won, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was like half the top 10 right there within 2 miles of the ramp.
Right.
The conditions were totally different this time. There were some guys that caught them out of the Natchez River. Taylors. Those were kind of the two main players. There were some fish caught around the ramp, but not like it was not a dominating deal like it normally is. Normally, like 4 of the top 10 will be within a mile of the ramp. There were some guys so the water conditions ended up changing throughout the tournament too, which was kind of neat. The water finally started to recede in the Sabine. We got closer to a normal tide towards the end of the tournament, and the water clarity got a little bit better. And on day 4, like half the top 10 started in the canal system that's just north of the takeoff.
Oh,
there really hadn't been anybody in there because the conditions.
Well, how'd they all figure that out?
You tell me, Brian. I mean, I know this.
That's kind of odd.
So I talked to somebody, I think it was Chris Johnston's marshal, and he said something about Chris pulled in there at the end of maybe day 3.
Yeah.
And he pulled in there because he had a little bit of time to fish, and he dropped his trolling motor in the water and was looking at his FFS, and he said there was like 2 or 3 fish on like every tree in there, like not far into the canal system. And he was assuming or knew or whatever that's where they dumped a bunch of the fish because of how many were in there, which made sense, right?
That does make sense.
So
what they didn't tell you? They didn't show you where they released them?
No. But I mean, Canterbury and I got to talking about this. Like, what? I mean, I guess it's technically illegal to do it because you're trying to intentionally gain intel. But
yeah, like if you hung around and seen which way the release boat went.
So. One thing that a couple of the guys had mentioned to B.A.S., and I think John Cruz, our president of the ABP, mentioned to B.A.S. is that, conservation is at the top of our list, regardless of what everybody thinks. And John is a great ambassador for the whole conservation side of our sport. And this is a perfect example of some of the things that he advocates for. He talked to Gene Gilliland, who is the conservation director for B.A.S., about our concern with taking all these fish out of Taylor's and bringing them all the way over to the Sabine.
Right.
I mean, that's damaging to a population, especially in a smaller bayou. Right. So they actually, I think they had everything adjusted, whether it was the equipment, the trailering, the pontoon options, whatever they used to take some of those fish back to Taylor's.
Oh, that would be good.
Well, fast forward to day 3, and there's one main ramp in Taylor's where you can put a boat in.
Yeah.
About 3 of our guys started on that ramp. so I went running by them, and I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
So I got to thinking, wonder if anybody saw the release boat, dump a bunch of fish there.
Or just speculating.
Or they're just speculating and taking educated guesses. But anyway, they dropped their FFS in the water. They don't have to take an educated guess. They knew if they were bass there or not. But no, that was interesting to me. But in all fairness, I do think B.A.S. works as hard as they can to distribute the fish properly when we're in a system like that, to where if we take fish out of this bayou and run them 50 miles back to here where there's locks and saltwater barriers and things in between, they're not going to go back to that bayou. That's obvious. Yeah. So they try to disperse the fish.
See if you can talk them into taking them back out to the Duck Islands when you go to the St. Lawrence River again next time.
Out the Duck?
Yeah. Take all the bass back out there.
You think they're all getting caught off a duck?
Yeah.
I've caught my fair share off a duck. I know that.
I'd like to see them try to run out there in their pontoon boat.
Yeah, with the amount of water and weight and fish they have in it, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it better look like glass out there before they do that. All right, so let's talk about, again, congrats to Canterbury. Drift, what we got to catch up? You gonna eat some more zots?
I'm gonna eat another zot. I hadn't had a cherry one today.
You ain't gonna be able to talk, man. You have your mouth full.
That's okay.
Well, give us a quick update, and I say quick because there's been multiple tournaments for you too.
It's been a lot.
A lot. By the way, I'm sitting 70-something in the standings, which is the worst I've ever had. Worst season I've ever had.
I think percentage-wise, that's probably about where I'm at too.
Your field's at what, 60 now?
Yeah, I
60?
think I'm like 40-something.
So you're in no, you're a little bit better than me. You're in like the 66th percentile. I'm in like the 74th percentile. So we have 102.
Either way, we're both having not the best years.
Bottom line is we're sucking.
Exactly.
Well, you're in what's the red crest cut? 40?
30.
Oh, is it 30 now?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. I'm not much on calculations and worrying about
We
AOY
got
points.
a lot of ground to make up the rest of the year.
Well, I already calculated mine. I need 3 top 20s to make it. Well, to have
That's
a good
doable.
shot. It's doable. Yeah,
That's
it's doable.
doable.
We got to start at Tenkiller. And I saw a question. Jody, I didn't make a big run at the Pasquotank. I actually fished probably within about 4 miles of where the tournament was blown out. Actually, within sight of some of it. But that being said, I didn't make a big run at the Pasquotank. I'm kind of glad I didn't. I did feel like the potential was there locally.
Obviously it was.
Yeah, obviously, and the first today was bad decision making on my part. I got in a bad rotation, pulling somewhere. Brock Mosley was in there pulling somewhere. Brandon Lester was coming out.
So that's what's plagued me this year.
Bad rotations,
Yeah, bad rotations and just
timing.
making one decision that's off by 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. Like I've been on fish to do well in every tournament. And it just
And
one
people,
little thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, people ask us all the time, and I get this comment, which I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not offended by it. But it like isn't fishing a lot of luck or a lot of? And I'm like, y'all. Let me just tell you something about the professional level. It's just like any other sport. Everybody's really, really good.
Really good.
But the separation between the anglers in each tournament is like that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like this much on paper, but it's that much.
Yeah.
And that much meaning it is a decision that was made 10 minutes too late.
Right.
Or it was a lost fish that may or may not have been your fault. Or, there's a lot of different things that can – and I've kind of taken for granted that – I haven't missed a championship in like 14 or 15 years, and you hadn't either.
Right.
And then when all of a sudden things start, like you hear guys talk about it, but then all of a sudden when you experience
hits you,
then you're like, oh, yeah.
That's me. Like I've yet to miss a championship,
Yeah.
and we got to get it turned around this year. We about to miss one.
You will. I have no doubt. How many tournaments you got left?
3.
You and me both. Well, imagine that. All right. So let's. What was your last tournament?
Our last one is Saginaw Bay.
No, the last
Oh,
tournament
the
you
last
fished.
one we had was at Chickamauga.
And
That was the down to the wire one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's-
that was probably the best finish I've ever seen.
That was exciting.
So,
in tournament
answer me
bass.
this. I have a question about the ending of that. So I watched it a couple times because there were some highlights on Jacob's page.
Oh, yeah.
Jake Lawrence and.
It was like that was amazing to watch.
So the fish that Jacob had hooked and lost, would that have won it for him, or couldn't get in time, or whatever happened?
I believe it would have. I forget
think-
what it had to weigh. Like I'm not sure. I think
It
it
was
was
a big
like
smallmouth.
yeah. And Jacob had been catching big smallmouth. Like he'd been catching 4 and 5 pound smallmouth
Yeah.
for the last 2 days at Nickajack.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there's like a 99% chance
That
if,
fish probably
if
would've
Jacob
done it.
hooks that fish 20 seconds earlier, he wins. But then Jake Lawrence, what he caught one 20 seconds before, like it was insane. Like
Yeah, that was one of the most exciting endings I've seen.
It-
in a
it
long
really was.
time. Chuck Fish wanted to know how much it'll take to win Tenkiller. I wish I knew. I have no idea. Well, I've only
y'all
fished.
had one event on Tenkiller.
Yeah, and
haven't you?
I can't even remember what
I
won it.
remember Carl Jochimson won it.
It was a low weight deal.
It was in the fall. Wasn't
It was in the fall because it was COVID year.
Right.
So they
Yep.
moved some of our tournaments to the fall. I know it was like September. It was like hot
Yeah.
as Hades. I was pissed off because deer season was in. I was fishing. And no,
Oh, my
it was a tough tournament. I actually caught him on a jig and had a good finish. I think a top 20 finish maybe in that event. But it's a very small lake. Like relatively speaking, it's only like 17,000 acres.
Oh, really? That is
Yeah.
small.
And I'm sure this time
I mean, it's not
around-
small, but when you put 100 guys on it practicing for 3 days, it's
Yeah,
small.
100%. Yeah.
Like
You know,
everybody finds everything.
Oklahoma's had a lot of high water recently. I don't know Tenkiller's current situation. I'm going to kind of wait closer to the event to kind of really. I'll
So
leave.
when's that coming up?
I leave a week from Friday.
Okay.
So it's a
Yep.
couple weeks away. But it's going to be an interesting event. If the water's super high, maybe it'll spread the fit out a little bit more. But if it's not, it's going to be FFS all day, every day, 100%.
Yep.
The water on the lower end of the Tenkiller is typically pretty clear. I think 3, 4, 5 foot visibility. It does have spots, smallmouth and largemouth.
Yeah, live sonar is going to dominate.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm looking. But as far as the weights, man, Chuck, I have no idea. I would assume like anything in the teens every day is probably pretty strong there, given that it's going to be June. Typical of most lakes in Oklahoma, Carolinas, things like that, you catch 14 to 16 pounds a day, and you're doing really, really good. I don't think Tenkiller is known for a lot of giant bass. If I have no idea what even won last time we were there.
I don't remember. I'm wanting to say it was like 15 to 18 a day.
Yeah, it wasn't big
like
weights. I feel like I had like 10 to 12 pounds a day and did really, really good. But again, it was September.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little different when you factor in a fall tournament.
Yep. So Rusty, it's funny you asked that question. So told Thrift what I was going to talk about.
Oh yeah, here we go. I can just step away now. Matt's
you don't
about
have
to
to
take
step
over.
away. No, I, look, man, I enjoy your input and your support. And if I get railed by somebody on here, you can defend me.
I will do that.
Would you
I don't
do
think
that?
anybody's going to rail you.
No. I'm here to state facts, and unlike a lot of other social media gurus,
Let's start off first by defining it as live sonar. It's not FFS. It's live.
what I said? Did I say?
Well, Rusty said FFS.
Somebody already corrected that earlier. I can't remember who it was. So, a live sonar. Sorry, live sonar. Because we've said this before, but live sonar, it trips me out that people on social media will be like, well, they had GPS came out one time and 2D sonar came out one time. And I'm like, tell me you know nothing about live sonar without telling me you know nothing about live sonar.
Yeah.
And that's the people that say they compare it to the other innovations or other technological advancements in our industry, because live sonar is like nothing else.
No.
Live sonar is exactly what it says. It's live sonar, and it does not compare to anything else. Somebody did compare it to Humminbird 360 the other day, and I'm like, no.
How can they do that?
No. And if anybody wants to explain the difference, he's sitting right here.
Yeah, it's nowhere near the same.
Not live. Humminbird 360 is not live.
No.
Now there is a live 360, right? Like
Lawrence has got a 360 live or something like that.
Well, it's like perspective or scout and things like that.
Yeah.
But what's Humminbird's? What's their perspective mode called?
Landscape mode.
Landscape mode.
Landscape
mode. But basically, I mean, similar. But again, live is live.
Live is live.
Not live is not
No.
live. Don't know how to explain
That's
that.
the best way to explain it.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
Live is live.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
No, live is not live.
Yeah. So Fred, Rusty, I'm going to address that. All right. So back to what I was saying a minute ago. You know, there's been people on social media, and I don't call names. I don't do that. I don't call people out. I don't think I've ever done that. Maybe I have. I might have called you out for something, but
Probably.
that's just because
It's
you're
different
sitting
when
right
we're
here, though.
friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You can't call your friends out.
There has been speculation and lots of rumors on social media in the past 2 to 3 weeks about what Bass is doing next year. Well, I'm going to put those to rest and say none of those guys, people, women, whoever they are, that are stating these so-called rumors, none of that's set in stone. None of it. And I can promise you that. We have the ABP, which is the Angler Board of Professionals. We formed last fall. They've had multiple meetings with Bass on different topics, including FFS, and there could potentially be some changes for 2026. There's been several different meetings between the ABP and Bass recently. There are some e-ballots in the works. There's been some things that have been discussed, but nothing is set in stone as of today for 2026. Again, we still have a lot of things to work through. So everybody that's saying, well, we're going to go 50-50, oh, they're going to ban FFS, oh, they're not going to do anything, we don't know yet, and that's the facts. We do not know, but hopefully within the next, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 3 to 4 weeks, maybe we'll have some better insight on what's going to happen. But there are some things in the works to possibly have some changes for 2026, and that's all I can tell you. I mean, that's the facts.
I have no knowledge of it because
I'm
not in that loop.
Well, you're not. Yeah. Well,
So I'm not commenting on nothing.
But that being said, don't believe everything you hear on social media, because Well, unfortunately, like I used to say, like 20% of it's not true, but now it's probably like 80% of it's not true. The AI stuff, dude, is blowing my mind. You've been watching all this AI stuff popping up on your phone?
No,
Yeah, dude, I don't know how I get it in my feed, but you hadn't seen the babies like the babies talk like so like Theo Von, you know, who's a big comedian, you know, Theo Von is. Yeah. So he's like in baby form, you know, still with his mullet and everything.
I don't get all that. Your feed must be different than my feed.
I don't know why I get. Well, no, all you got to do is talk about it. I bet you get it later.
Possible.
Your phone is listening to you. Your phone is listening to you. Burning season, another rumor. You know, they're going to do what their new owners, Garmin, will tell them. Garmin does not own B.A.S., regardless of the rumors.
And it doesn't really matter what the anglers say. Like B.A.S. and BPT alike, they're going to do what they think's best for their business model. Like what's it like? At the end of the day, both B.A.S. and the Bass Pro Tour are really, what's the word? They're marketing people. That's how they make a living, is through marketing dollars and eyeballs on what they're producing, the shows they're producing, and they're going to do whatever they feel like is going to bring more eyeballs and be more appealing to the sponsor environment.
That's right. And Caleb, to answer your question, I do think B.A.S. is very, very open to the anglers' feedback at this point. They've been really good to work with the ABP since it was formed in the fall of 2024. And they've had some very productive meetings, including, you know, payout adjustments that happened this year. There's been some changes that the ABP and B.A.S. have constructed together and have worked very well together, and I've been very impressed with it. So, no, I don't think that there's a company out there, a single company, including Garmin, that's just going to tell B.A.S. unless, you know, they own B.A.S., which they do not. As of today, anyway. As far
There's
as I know.
Politics everywhere, man.
Yeah, but
I mean, Garmin could say,
you know,
tear that check in half, throw it over here to the side.
Fred asked about our buddy Slick Johnson. How does he know so much so fast? Well,
I asked myself that question.
I like Slick. Like I've talked to Slick. You know, Slick's a cool dude. He does the social media thing. That's his gig. But
he's the man in the know, though.
Yeah,
there ain't no doubt about that.
I can't answer the question about how he gets intel on certain things, but as far as I don't know what he said personally about the 50-50 split next year, which is not on, you know.
So does he do everything on TikTok?
What's decided. No, I think he does it all. I think he does all social media platforms. But I think he put out a post about the Sabine being canceled, and I saw it and I kind of chuckled.
I saw that too.
Because I had already talked to Lisa at B.A.S. because I had heard the rumor through social media, and she's like, absolutely not. We haven't even considered canceling the Sabine. Like, why would that be on social media? So wherever that came from, I mean, it was either pulled out of thin air or some elite angler just decided to tell him a blatant lie, you know, just to create some disturbance on social media or numbers.
Or he made it up to give views.
Which equal money.
Exactly.
There you go, Brian. There you go. So, I get it. Like, look, that's his deal, and the more views and impressions.
Like, I think it's good because it's like he does get things before it's public.
Yeah,
I think that's great for the industry. It's great for us as fans because we're not hearing it, you know, after the fact. Like it's almost like it's real time.
Yeah,
and that's kind of refreshing.
Yep. Burning season. I don't know if the 50-50 split ended up being the change for 2026. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like as far as practice is concerned. I feel like if there's a 50-50 split, that it would be like, let's just say the first tournament of the year is at Lake Okeechobee. If FFS is not allowed, it will not be allowed in practice either.
Kind of like what the NPFL does.
Correct. It's
so
either
the
NPFL, all in or all out.
Yeah, they don't allow live sonar in practice either.
So and I'll be honest with you, dude. If it's not going to be allowed in the tournament, I don't know that I'd want to use it in practice. Like it would kind of scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like it could negatively. Because I mean, dude, I've seen a lot of fish that I can't catch on that sucker.
And you know, I think about that, and I need to push that to the side because I feel like that's something that slowed me down over the last 2 years with live sonar. Is I spend more time trying to catch fish I see that won't bite. When, you know, before the onset of live sonar, we'd pull up, fish that place, wouldn't get a bite, and we'd go somewhere else, and we'd catch them.
Yeah.
So you it's like you spend a third of your day, half of your day fishing for fish you can see that you can't figure out how to get to bite.
Yep.
Whereas if you kept covering water, you'd probably find a group or two that would bite.
Big hair on my microphone. I don't know where that came from.
Oh, Lord. It's probably out of your goatee.
Burning season will snow if either of us plan on fishing the NPFL next year. I do not as of right now. And I mean, a couple of reasons for me personally. One is, as long as I can make a decent living, keep my sponsors happy, and fish just bass, I'm good with that. Gives me more time at home with the family. I don't want to add more events to my schedule unless I absolutely have to. The other thing is NPFL, although I agree with a lot of the things that they do, the ROI is not very great. Like it's like I think it's $5,200 a tournament.
Yeah.
And the last place check, which they only pay, I think they only pay about 30-something% of the field. And the last place check doesn't get much. Well, counting expenses, you really barely break even. I think it's like $7,000 or something.
Yeah.
So. I think Brian looks at things like I do. Like if you go out and win one like Canterbury did, like obviously make your money.
I mean, I'm definitely interested in fishing them. I would love to add a tournament or two to my schedule, but I can't
a tournament or two. So.
Right, but I can't justify adding a whole nother trail of 6 events or 5 events, because you got to look with the Bass Pro Tour now, and Matt's likewise with the Elite Series. We're fishing 7 to 9 regular season events plus the Classic, Red Crest, heavy hitters. So there's potential that in the MLF Cups that we have, there's potential there for me to have, upwards of 11 to 12 events in a single year. And if you add another 6 on top of that, you're looking at 18 to 19 events throughout the course of the year. And that is a lot to take on. If I was in my 20s, maybe.
And I agree with that statement.
But now, we've both got families. We both have 2 young kids, and that family time and home time is just as important as making a living. And we're I feel like Matt's the same way as me. We want to split that equally. We want to fish what we can and what we need to stay out there and support our sponsors and do what we love to do. But we also want to still have our home time as well.
Yeah, that gray on my microphone, Fred, was not gray, by the way. That hair on my microphone was not gray, excuse me. The NPFL is definitely intriguing to watch. I do like their drive-through weigh-ins. I think that's really cool.
Like everything I've seen with them, like I love the events, and I would love to fish some of them, but I just can't. I couldn't fish the whole trail, and which I think is a good thing. They don't allow cherry picking, which is good.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Warren said, would you cherry pick a Bassmaster Open? I personally wouldn't, but that's just because I'm fishing the elites.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. I mean, if they put one on Norman, I probably would.
But the bad thing about cherry picking one is you go out there and you try to win it, but you have to fish I don't know what the rules are now.
The whole point of cherry picking, you're not worried about anything down the road about the classic carrot or nothing like that. You're just trying to hit a lick right then.
Yeah.
So, I'd cherry pick one on Norman.
But the open carrot, well, the majority of it now is qualifying for the elites, but then a lot of it is being eligible to make the classic if you do win it too.
Right.
Which I understand both sides of that. But if it's in your backyard and for some reason you can get in, money's money, right? Like you win $50 grand
you gotta try to hit a lick when you can. And if
but again, the ROI, the ROI on those tournaments is, I think it's close to $2,000 to enter, and they pay like 30% of the field maybe, and you double your entry fee if you get a check. Yeah. Which, when it's all said and done, you make $1,000 if that.
Yeah, but it's always been like that to a degree. Maybe not when we first started with FLW.
Yeah.
But for the better part of the last 15 years, that's the way it's been. I mean,
for sure.
Like if you put pencil to paper and say, these are my expenses, this is my potential return, we're all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
But that's why you can't lump tournament payouts into the whole picture, because that's not the whole picture when you're talking about a professional angler. You've got the sponsor side of things, working with companies, developing products, helping sell products. Like that's not your only value in tournament winnings. Like there's a lot of other values to a tournament angler that to help make themselves profitable.
Yeah, and that's what there probably hadn't been 4 or 5 anglers in the history of bass fishing that made a true living, at least for an extended period of time, off of nothing but winnings.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen, because if you take the sponsorships out of it, and let's just say Brian goes out and wins a tournament every year, he's losing money. I mean, he's not losing money, but he's not making enough to support your family.
Yeah, you're making about $40,000 a year.
Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah. But anyway, yeah, moving forward, that's pretty good catch.
It was
but
empty.
You ain't gotten much left.
I got like a half
catch.
a sip left. I'm trying to make it last 15 more minutes.
Yeah, I look at B.A.S. this year, and I praise B.A.S. and the ABP for the changes that we had. We have our $10,000 membership fee, which equates to about $1,100 investment per tournament. I think I've talked about this.
Now, see, I like that.
And our final check which is half the field, is $5,500.
Yeah.
So, in turn, you look at the ROI. It's really, really good. It's the best ROI I've ever fished.
It
for.
really is, and there's
It's
very little risk.
It's 5 times my investment if I cash a check in the top 50% of the field. Now that's the best. That's the best return I've ever fished for. Now, but that being said, take sponsorships out of the equation. You cash a check every tournament. Let's just say $6,000 times 9.
Yeah, 56.
$56,000.
54, 56.
Minus the 10, which is 46, minus your expenses, which
Yeah,
you're down to $30,000.
But you hadn't lost money. See, that's the thing. A lot of people
You hadn't
don't.
lost money.
That's
Correct.
That's where a lot of people don't.
But you can't make a living off winnings. Is my
No,
point.
you can't make
Right.
a living. But you're not finding a rookie coming out going $40,000 in debt his rookie season,
Yeah.
which that should never happen in any sport. But it used to happen in bass fishing quite often.
Our rookies ain't going in debt. They're half the top 10s.
Well, they don't anymore because they're all like live sonar wizards.
They're wizards.
They're
Yeah,
wizards.
they're little
That's all.
magicians.
That's the only way.
They're
to word
witches.
for it.
They're
Like,
little wicked witches.
yeah, they're not.
They're all really, really good at their craft.
Yeah,
Really
wizards, wizardry. That's what I'm going with.
Wizardry. Is that a word? Wizardry. Yeah, Dan, I see what you're saying, but as an angler, I wouldn't like that. The only reason, and I'll just tell you why. He says no live sonar the first 2 days and allow it the final 2 days. So the BPT does 1 period each day.
Yeah, 1 period each day.
And the only reason, and this is just me trying to make it easier on myself, I'm not going to lie, but if I don't have to worry about the entire tournament, it makes everything a lot more, just a lot easier. Like to focus on certain, and Brian and I, we kind of had a little conversation after the Classic. We were talking about FFS and this, that, and the other. And I said, man, I knew the Classic was going to be won that way.
Yeah.
So I focused on it like 90% of my practice or 80% of my practice. And I didn't have a good Classic. But Brian's like, and we were talking, for some reason the conversation steered off to, well, gosh, I wish FFS wasn't allowed or whatever.
Yeah.
And you said something like, yeah. And I said, well, I still would have sucked. I said something like that. And you're like, well, you don't know that, because if it wasn't allowed, you would have never even thought about it. You would have never focused on that bite, and who knows what you might have uncovered.
Right.
So, I would rather be able to go into a 3-day practice period, which is what we have now, and not have to worry about that being in play for that entire event.
That's the whole reason they banned the Alabama rig. So same argument.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Absolutely. Yeah, I see a couple questions about an update on Scott Martin. I have talked to Scott. We talked to Scott when we were at the Sabine. Scott's doing good. He's sounding good. He's enjoying life, getting a lot of filming done. So y'all, there's some really funny content on the YouTube channel as of late. I think they even went carp fishing one day.
Did they really?
Yeah, but is that an episode? You know if that episode's on his YouTube channel?
I'm not sure.
Okay, it may not even be out yet, but I swear they went carp fishing like down in South Carolina with Billy and a couple buddies. They did something.
I think it was when they
That's
were
awesome.
at Murray.
They were at Murray. Maybe they went carp fishing that night and did like one of them 6 to 2 nighttime rodeos. or
That's
something.
awesome.
Yeah. I've been telling them they need to come up to Carolinas and film a carp tournament. Like, they put it on Scott's YouTube channel. I just think it'd be awesome.
Unedited.
People would be like, "What?" And
They'd have to get a lot of not NDAs, but liability releases signed from people.
Why do you say that, Brian?
Just because
Carp
the way-
flakes are a different animal, aren't
Yeah,
they?
that's the way the car flakes were
That's the
20
way.
years ago when I went to them. There's no
still the-
telling what you would see.
Yeah, or smell.
Or smell.
Yeah. Anyway, talking about carp bait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, carp bait.
Yeah.
All right. We, I mean, Scott, some people forget, Fred asking about if we've adjusted without Scott, but before Scott Martin came over to the elites, it was just Canterbury and I rooming together. So it's kind of like back to where we started.
Back to where you started.
Yeah, without and I've had a lot of messages and stuff about creating a YouTube channel with me and Canterbury, but man, that's again, it's obviously kind of nice not having a camera in your face all the time. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Now, there's a lot of people that are made for that stuff, and Scott Martin is one of the best in the world at that, and he manages
really good.
He
at
manages it all very well and very efficiently. I am not the type of personality that can manage that and be successful at that and tournament fishing. Like, I just can't. I know how I think and how I like how I operate. I just couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't.
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to
Well, you're
focus
OCD
on.
too.
Do what?
You're OCD too.
Yeah, that's
You're
what
probably
I'm
worse
saying.
than I am, actually.
I'd say.
Yeah. yeah. Just looking at your rods on the deck,
I'd
I'm gonna go
say.
out on a limb and say, yeah, he's probably more. All right, what else we got, Brian?
You
been
we got
out
I went out one day last week. Actually, Luke Clausen's got his truck and boat. He dropped his stuff off at the house when he flew back after heavy hitters.
Let's go take his boat for a ride. Let's go.
He's coming back tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go night fish tonight. I hate night fishing. Never mind.
not
I'm out
night
on that.
fishing. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, we went out there one day. Been to Norman a couple times.
Okay. Oh yeah, you told me how.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Fish are
Norman was.
biting everywhere.
It's May.
It's
They always
May.
bite.
They're
in May.
supposed to bite.
They bite
yeah.
for about another month. You'd say.
Yeah, I'd say
Then
another
it
month and
sucks.
a half.
Then it sucks for like 3 months, then it gets better again.
Yeah, I like fishing in July. You know, that's like a lot of people hate fishing those summertime tournaments, but like I love
Where do
fishing.
you fish in July? Do y'all fish in July?
No,
we
we don't
never
get
fish
to-
in July either.
Yeah,
Yeah, bass.
like I used to love when the Forestwood Cup was in like late July, early August. Like, you
it
know,
was
that's
always in August. Yeah.
yeah, because that's that's a tough time of year. You're out there fighting bugs, sweating. I mean, you're in the armpit of Arkansas the first week of August.
Armpit of Arkansas.
Like you got to be serious about it if you're gonna win, and I like that aspect.
Yeah,
of
I have
it.
never sweat more than I've sweated in Forestwood Cups in August. Like,
No, like that,
100%.
and it was the awesomest thing.
the awesomest.
Like I loved it.
Don't give them any ideas. We'll be fishing championships in August again.
I wish we would.
Nah, dude. You give me March for a Bassmaster Classic,
No,
I'm taking that every day.
I think
of the
they
week.
ought to alternate. Like I think they ought to put it on a 3-year rotation.
Okay, I agree with that. Yeah,
Because
I agree with that.
it's always the same thing for every championship, March, April. It's always the same thing. They're either,
We always go to the same lakes every 3 years. So.
yeah, and I'm sure we will too.
Oh, 100%.
Because you cut the when you have your championships in March and April, you're cornered into a small section of the country to have an event. You're cornered from North Carolina to
Everywhere
Florida
bass fishing's
to
cool.
Texas.
Everywhere bass
Yeah,
fishing's
you're
cool.
stuck in the southeast. But if you would alternate like a 3-year, like have one in March, next year have one in May, June, the next year have one in August, September, like a a Northern Classic or Northern.
Yeah, I
Red
don't think
Crest.
we've ever. Has there ever been a championship like?
So there was going to
Up
be
north?
one Forestwood Cup at Lake
I
Champlain.
forgot. It got 9/11
and
canceled.
9/11. It was
that.
in 2001. They were actually starting practice when the whole thing went down, and they ended up obviously made the right call. They canceled the championship. And to my knowledge, they split the purse among all the qualifiers.
Huh?
It's-
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Right. But that's the only one that I know of that would actually have happened outside of a spring or August. Well, that one was still in August, but a northern type championship.
Okay. Is smoking on MLF Live a no?
No, it's legal.
On live? Like while you're on live?
Yep.
Okay, so if they tell you you're going live, you can keep smoking.
If you want to. Yeah,
FLW used to not allow that.
yeah well, FLW, you couldn't smoke and fish. Like, you couldn't hold a rod and fish. Like, you could
Huh?
sit down and smoke and then pick up your rod and fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I said that there was a question on there to ask that, but they might be referencing Fighter.
Yeah.
Fighter made a.
Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, there was a classic at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, and then FLW had a championship up there at Pittsburgh, too.
Fighter set the hook on one on day 4 at Lake Fort with a cigarette hanging out of his
Yeah.
mouth.
It happened.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get a bite, you're going to jerk, ain't you? No
Yeah,
matter what else is
exactly.
going on.
So evidently my knowledge of bass fishing history is not very good because there was 2 classics in Chicago, too. My point is, it's been a long time. We need to do it
Chicago,
again.
wow.
Maybe we go that.
That's pretty cool, Dan. I didn't know that either.
I remember. Golly,
Wait, what's Chicago?
Blue Dave's won one in Chicago. I remember that.
What is Chicago? Is that part of Three Rivers or something?
No, Three Rivers
Or
is in
Ohio
Pennsylvania. I don't remember what river. It was a river they fished
Could
in
be
Chicago.
Cumberland or something.
Yeah.
It's up through Illinois,
I'm
right?
not sure.
Huh.
I remember Blue Dave's one of them.
Yep.
I remember watching that on TV way back when.
Chuck wanted to know if we got any turkeys. Well, Thrift doesn't turkey hunt, but
No, I don't.
I did our limits 2 in North Carolina. I did kill my 2 in the first 3 days of the season, and then it kind of sucked because I didn't really go after that. I couldn't get somebody
Well,
to
if
go
you
with
killed your 2, or you can. Oh,
No.
you're gonna go call them.
Yeah. Take somebody. I did go with my best friend a couple times, and it honestly after the first couple days, the first week of the season, I had to travel a little bit during turkey season, and I was gone. Pasquotank River was funny.
I remember Matt fussing about that.
Well, I was at the Pasquotank River. The season opened on Saturday, and if it wasn't for a lost fish on day 2, I would have made the Saturday cut. But the bittersweet ending to that was I didn't make the cut.
Came home, killed a turkey.
Dude, I left the Pasquotank River and burned rubber to get to Shelby, North Carolina because the season opened the next morning. And I woke up, opening day, I woke up and I hunted 4 different properties from sunrise until 4 o'clock that afternoon. I put in 20,000 steps and I killed my turkey. First turkey of the season, obviously, opening day at 4 o'clock that evening. I've never killed one that late. But, yeah, and then I killed one on that Monday, and then I was done. But after that, it actually got really tough and really slow. North Carolina, unfortunately, our overall population numbers are down, which they're dwindling.
Are they really?
They're dwindling everywhere in the U.S., man, but it's more due to a habitat loss than anything. Nest predators are a big issue. A raccoon gets in a turkey nest, eats every egg in there.
Yeah.
That's a bad deal. But overall, it was kind of a couple times I went after that with buddies to try to help them get a turkey. It was really, really slow after that. We got on a few birds, but they didn't want to talk. They didn't want to cooperate. And but anyway, I was on the road the majority of turkey season. But we did get our 2, and can't wait till next season.
I didn't go any. I listen to them every morning on the back porch. I get up to let the dog out.
Yeah, if I hadn't killed my 2 in the first 3 days, I'd have probably ended up in Thrift's backyard. Because nobody knows at this point, Thrift's backyard is like it's like a killing home. It's like stuff dies in his backyard, dude.
Wild animal vortex.
Yeah. It is. But all right, it's about 4 or 5 minutes till 8 o'clock. Don't forget, we got our trivia question here in just a minute. We appreciate everybody. We got well over 100 viewers tonight.
Yeah, and I know I'm going to be gone next week, and Matt, you'll be gone the week after. But hopefully after that, we'll get back, and we're going to try to get back to doing the shows a little more regularly.
We say that every time we're in here.
Regularly.
That's a word.
Something like that.
We say that every time.
More often. How about that?
Yeah, more often. More often than one a month.
Yeah.
But again, we do appreciate everybody tuning in, and we
need to get up. We need to get up a special giveaway, like sweeten the pot a little bit. On
we need to holler at some of our maybe we holler back at Rely On.
Ooh, that's
see
a
if
good
they got a
idea.
lithium battery they want to give away. Yeah, I think we did that one time.
We did
gave
that
away,
one day.
We've given away some cool stuff on this. We've given away
Costa
Costa sunglasses.
Yep.
But yeah,
We've given a lot away doing this show for
100%.
the last 5 years, 6 years, however long it's been.
You pick. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll pick one of my sponsors. You pick one of your sponsors. Not. We both have P-line, but we don't want to give them a spool of line. We can do more than that. Whoever you want. We'll
do something special.
Yeah,
we're gonna have
we'll
a
do something
special episode,
Might
and you never know when it's gonna happen. So you just got to watch because we won't announce it until.
Who's your real sponsor? Are you got a real sponsor now?
I do not.
Okay, so you're not using your Fitzgerald
rods.
Okay.
We'll come up with something.
I'll tell you
It'll
what.
be good.
I'll come. You come up with a rod. I'll come up with a reel.
All right, we can do that.
How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
We'll do a rod and reel combo. Be probably at least a $400 deal. No, it'd be more than that. Probably $500 deal. Yeah, we'll come up with a rod and reel combo.
We'll do something good.
But
we even spool it up with P-line.
Yeah, we'll put line on it. Don't worry.
We'll have
I
it
just
spooled up
wanted to
for
give
you.
away more than just to spool the line, but we'll put line on the reel too.
Yeah, we'll put line on the reel.
Put it back.
Maybe
in
even
the
tied
box.
to Mickey bait to it.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, or Thrift can do that. I don't have any.
It'll be ready to go. So
my
whoever
friend,
wins
my friend
is
that's
going to.
sponsored by Demiki never gives me any. So actually, I got some stingers.
You,
I do have some
all you got to do is
stingers.
ask.
I got some stingers. Them stingers catch them, and get some stingers are pretty good.
Has anybody ever given away a rod reel ready to go, like with line, a bait tie, and all you got to do is go throw it?
How you gonna ship that? I mean, I guess you gonna ship it in a tube like anything else.
Yeah, we'll ship it in a tube.
Well, I'll spool the reel up and give you the reel, and you take care of it. Since you got the rod, or I figured like I could ship a reel no problem, but the rod probably have to come.
Yeah, that's true.
Trevor.
We might not want to. We not want to ship it tandem.
Yeah, tandem would be.
You may
kind
have
of
to
a pain.
some assembly acquired,
Worst case scenario, you're gonna have to put the reel on the rod seat and screw it in.
and then thread the line through the guts and tie.
Yeah,
back.
the line will be on the reel. Line will be on the reel. And we'll match the line up for whatever techniques are most popular during the giveaway month. How about that?
And check the reel if Matt gives the reel away, because I know he's going to back off the drag, so you backlash at first cast.
Well, if it's a new reel, I won't even adjust the drag. So make sure you.
Well, yeah, you got to adjust it. It's got to be ready to go out of the box.
Are they going to set the hook on a 9-pounder and break it off and blame it on me?
Would that not be a good story? Not to
Not
drag.
if they blame it on me, it won't.
I'm not talking about the drag coming out of the reel. I'm talking about the casting drag, the magnetic drag.
Oh, the brakes.
The brakes, the
Yeah,
magnetic
I got that.
drag.
Yeah, I got you. I'll keep it on pro mode to be wide open.
Like most good reels, they got a drag of brakes on this side and a magnetic drag to
No,
fine tune on
I'm
the other
aware.
side. Okay.
The really good ones got one on the inside too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are the really good ones, Tyler?
What's the really good ones? The ones that go when you cast.
Yeah, that's
which reel is
that's
it?
the what is that? That's just Shimano reel.
Shimano digital something.
It's
I don't know.
it's
I know when you're around
$500.
somebody that's got one, all you hear is
Yeah.
It starts with an M.
I don't know.
Okay,
I know they sound fun.
Metaniums.
That ain't the only one.
Oh, that's the one. Because Scott used to
It's
throw
called
those things, dude.
it's
Martin.
called DC. They're called DC reels.
Yeah, DC.
Digital chip.
Yeah. I know when they cast it, it makes a really funny sound. It sounds
Yeah, so
pretty
that
cool.
would drive me crazy when I'd watch one of Scott's videos.
Yeah.
And he'd make a cast. I'm like, dude, I had to turn the volume down. I can't hear that 687 times a day. Like that would drive me out. Metaniums.
Metanium, there you go.
I told you. That's what I just said. Thank you,
DC
Rusty.
too. They probably got it in all of them now.
They do.
All right. We got to get on to our trivia question. It's
Yeah.
8 o'clock, and we got a good trivia question. It is sponsored by English Choice. No, we're not giving away the rod and reel tonight for those that are getting ready to ask.
It's going to be a surprise when we do that.
Yeah, we're not going to tell anybody
Exactly.
until we do it. So, trivia question time. It is sponsored by English Choice Marine. English Choice Marine is giving away a heavy-duty weigh-in bag and a hat. All right. Whoever wins, by the way, whoever wins is the first correct answer that comes across our feed.
That
not
we
your
see it.
feed.
We call it.
Yeah, we call it. And whatever we call is the final. End of story. Don't send me a private message getting pissed off.
Saying I was robbed.
Because saying you were robbed.
But if you
Not
were
the way it
robbed,
works.
just know that it's Matt's fault.
Yeah, everything's Matt's fault. But how come you never? You probably get messages too. You just don't ever read them.
Possibly.
Yeah, exactly. Or you'd be like, somebody will say, "Man, I sent you a message about winning that trivia." Or you'd be like, "I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it." It's like somebody leaves you an important voicemail that you really didn't want to hear, but you got it and you listen to it. But then they say later, about 2 weeks later, "Hey, man, did you get my voicemail?"
I don't
No,
do
I
that.
didn't. I didn't hear it. Man, I'm sorry. I must have missed that. Make sure you always have that function on your phone when it says, when you send somebody a text and it says red underneath it, make sure you have that turned off. so people,
Said, now I know how Matt does me when I text
exactly.
him.
I
and
promise you don't know if I've ever read your
I
text.
don't hear from him for 3 days. And then I'll call him or something. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't text you back," or something like that. He didn't even.
Now, I have done this before. I have actually typed a response out to a text.
Never hit send.
Never hit send. But
I think I've done that,
That's
too.
usually because of kid interference or something.
Yeah.
Something grabs my attention. By the way, my you know what Ren got for her 8th birthday? My youngest daughter's birthday party was this past weekend.
What'd she get?
A guinea pig.
Oh, you told me that.
Yeah.
How's it faring?
How's it faring?
Yeah, how's it doing?
I think it's faring good.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know how Bailey was taking to it.
Bailey smelled it, and that's as close as she got to it.
Oh, really?
Her door stays shut in her room. I'm afraid Bailey might kill it if she gets older.
Yeah.
But her name
Bailey's their dog, so
her name is Piggy Cookie Biscuits.
I like that. I like that.
You like
Piggy
that?
Cookie Biscuit.
Well, she was torn between Piggy and Biscuits, and then Cookie came up, but she really just calls it Piggy. But we've been calling it Piggy Cookie Biscuits.
I like that.
Yeah, it's actually really cute.
That is
Loves
cool.
watermelon.
I do too.
Maybe you're related to guinea pig.
Could be.
Could be. All it does is pee and crap everywhere, dude. You have to clean its
Definitely
cage all
related
the
to
time.
the guinea pig.
Y'all are very similar in that way.
All right, let's get to the
Trivia question time. Here we go. All right, so anybody that followed the Bassmaster Elite Tournament at the Pascagoula River knows what went down. You know that Kyle Welcher won. He also set an all-time record for the largest margin of victory. I need to know what that margin of victory was in pounds and ounces. The largest margin of victory ever in a Bassmaster event. Probably in any tournament ever.
You think it'll ever be eclipsed?
Man, look, dude, with live sonar, anything's possible. But
Right.
that being said, no.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think so.
Oh, I think I see it.
No, I don't.
What was it? Let me see.
There it is.
Okay,
I
didn't
see it now.
I got
Okay,
JG now we got
Outdoors.
it.
Is that what y'all got? I
JG.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's our little buddy John Gavin.
Yep, that is it.
It is it. So it's 45 pounds,
7
ounces.
Like, that's a good weight for the whole tournament.
Yeah,
That's more than what it took
if
to
you
win
just
this to be,
divide
ain't
that
it?
by 3 and give me that for the first 2 days. No, give me 30 pounds for the first 2 days. I'd have been in like 20th place, dude.
Yeah, like that's a good weight for the whole tournament.
So another stat from that tournament, Kyle did not have to catch a bass on day 4 to win that tournament.
That's impressive.
45 pounds and 7 ounce
ounces.
margin of victory. John Gavin, you are the El Champion. So y'all actually, they probably got my number. Y'all can text me or send us a message to the LTF Facebook page with your shipping
I'm gonna have
information.
one more Zot.
We'll get
I'll wait
your,
till we leave. We're
we'll
about
get
done.
your weigh bag, heavy duty weigh bag out to you. Angler's Choice will be shipping that out with your new hat. So very cool, very cool. And if I'm not mistaken, there's his dad. Kevin's on there too. He's saying He said, "Way to go!" He's congratulating his son. Y'all watching on the same computer? You can't be. They're commenting on their 2 different accounts. So
They may be in the same
probably
room.
in the same house.
Yeah, they may be side by
They're
side.
trying to double their chances. I like it. So, all right, y'all. Mike, thank you, man. Appreciate everybody getting on here and
Yeah,
engaging
thank
with
you
us
guys.
tonight.
It's good to be back, and
It is.
hopefully in about 3 weeks we're going to be back again.
We can hook you up with a Zot, Kevin. Don't worry about that. We don't have a ton left, but we probably got.
We got half a bag, third of a bag.
a couple dozen in there still.
There's fixing to be one less because I'm
Yeah.
going to have one more.
Jerry, we will do our best to get back in here a little bit quicker next time. I know Thrift's leaving next week.
Yeah,
I'll
I've
be
got to
gone
leave this week, and then Matt.
the week after. But after that, I do have. Now we're going on a little vacation. Y'all probably are in July. doing something.
Yeah, we are.
But towards the end of June, I'll be around. We get in the studio. We can actually give a tournament update, wrap up report, since we'll each have one tournament,
That is true.
and we can do something fairly accurate.
I can't get into
Brian's
the
worried about his Zot.
I am.
All right. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Good to be back in the studio. Good to hear from everybody. And, maybe next time in the studio we might have some actual facts about what Bass is going to do next year, too. Who knows?
Possibly.
So, I mean, possibly. We won't say definitely on that deal. But, again, thanks for everybody tuning in. And we are
Thank you, guys.
we're signing out. Brian, you want to sign us out?
Yep. Going to be back in a couple weeks. Thanks, everyone, again for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but it's always good to get back and catch up with everyone. I feel like coming up pretty soon, we need to do another, what's on your mind show, like where we just answer questions and
You
tips
sure you
and
want that in
techniques.
this day and age in our industry?
Of course. That's where it gets fun because we don't, that's my favorite shows is when we don't know what direction they're going.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, guys, thank you. And remember, if we can't go fishing, what are we going to do?
We're going to sit here and talk fish. See y'all next time.